How about Islamic Fintech then? Is there such a thing as Islamic Fintech, or is it just meant to portray Fintech initiative in the Islamic space? Because we understand that for something to be called Islamic, there must be a shariah vetting process. But what if the technology application is on a new area which shariah vetting processes have not been established? Wouldn't that lead to a commoditisation of the Islamic term, Doctor?
Right. Yeah, there's always that danger. That's a very strong point. For me, I view Islamic Fintech as just like Islamic finance, Islamic economics, Islamic anything, right? Especially in technology, Fintech is financial technologies, but technology is broader, right? It goes beyond finance. But since we're talking about Fintech first and then Islamic Fintech, technology is actually agnostic. It's just a tool. We use it to make things better, to make things more efficient, to make ourselves more productive and things like that through AI, through blockchain, through IoT. We leverage the specialization of each of these different technology, and then we integrate it for use to solve a certain problem. This is how I view technology, because I practiced, my bachelor's was in engineering, and I practiced as an engineer for 10 years before I went into finance, master's in conventional finance and PhD in Islamic finance. So I have a strong understanding because I practice as a technologist, and then now I'm practicing as a finance person. So fintech to me comes naturally. So I view fintech is just a way of making products better, cheaper, more efficient, so that it will benefit everybody. And we term it Islamic Fintech because Islamic Fintech is supposed to create solutions within the space of Islamic finance, because fintech is still within the finance space, using technology to make Islamic finance more efficient, more productive, and cost reduction. So this is how I view Islamic fintech. We should not, ride on the popularity of Islamic fintech and just beat the horse to death, right? Just like these days, anybody that hears blockchain, or if you want to get funded, just stuff the word blockchain in there, or just use blockchain in some superficial way so that you try to get funded. That shouldn't be the approach, right? If you hear that kind of advice, I think those are the kind of advice that you should put aside first, right? The right kind of advice that I feel should be given is you use the technology that is the right technology to solve the problem that you are trying to overcome. So this is the correct approach from a technologist or from an engineering standpoint, right? For instance, we have cars. Cars has been around for decades, right? Each version has to be better in some sense, right?
Yes.
Not only move faster and all that, it has to be more fuel. Yeah, more fuel efficient. We're going into more sustainability, more fuel efficient, more mileage with less petrol. Or now we're going without petrol because we want to harness natural, like solar and all this other stuff. So this should be the approach, right? We are supposed to make things better than before, instead of like what you say, commoditizing terms. Right, Islamic fintech or blockchain or AI or things like that. We need to focus on solving problems and then finding the right tools to solve that. If AI is the right tool to solve that, you use AI. If blockchain is the right one, you use blockchain. If IoT, you use IoT. If you don't need to use any of this, maybe a simple, enterprise software that you can buy off the shelf, that's even better, right? So we want to view things in in a very, for the lack of a better word, in a very Islamic manner. We are careful in using resources. For instance, right, the analogy can be just like when we take wudu, right? There was a hadith that says that, Rasulullah ﷺ says that we need to be careful in using water, because water is a very precious resource. And then one of the people that was there, and said, even when we take wudu, Prophet Rasulullah said, yes, even when you take wudu, if you're taking wudu next to a flowing river. You know, even there's abundance of water, you still manage the resource carefully, right? So likewise, when we approach using technology and all these things, these are the ideas from the Quran and Sunnah that we can use to extract and demonstrate in our behaviors. This is what Islam means to me, or what Islamic means to me. So we have the term Islamic Fintech, Islamic finance, Islamic economics. So that word Islamic should be all those things that we grew up learning from our madrasas and you know the religious knowledge that our ustaz and ustazas was trying to teach us, right? So our mind has to somehow merge these two, draw the wisdom from the Quran and Sunnah, which makes up the Sharia, and then we demonstrate that in our behaviors every day. So that when people look at us, or when we are, you know, we are dead and we are counted for our deeds, this is what is recorded. We are careful in the use of resource. We are careful in the words that we use, how we approach things. You know, we solve problems to benefit people beyond us. You know, we think outside of ourselves. This is what we mean by thinking of the Ummah, right? Thinking of the Ummah doesn't mean, oh, you know, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam think of the Ummah is because he's thinking beyond himself, right? Likewise, we can do the same, right? Not to be selfish, but to be selfless, right? Not to forget ourselves. Selfless doesn't mean you put yourself last. Selfless means you think of everyone yourself as well as those outside of yourself. So this is the Islamic part of everything that's attached to like Islamic finance, Islamic economics, Islamic fintech, Islamic whatever you want to call it, right? Islamic governance, Islamic schools, Islamic education, whatever you want to call it. This is the Islamic values and virtues that we need to bring to the table every time we mention Islamic something.